Hey, Lucas, welcome back, brother. Long time no hear. So, I know last time we spoke, we were speaking about Ukraine, and obviously, it's not even been that long. Now we have another disaster going on in Gaza. So, I was going to catch up with you and just have a chat with you about what your thoughts on what's happening on the latest news on Gaza and stuff. We're simultaneously broadcasting this on YouTube and on Spaces. We might not get any time to get any questions at the end because I've only got you for 1 hour. But the listeners, you're welcome to listen. And if Lucas can stay a bit longer, then he'll let us know. If not, we'll try and catch him another time. So we're basically not going to waste any time. Let's go through all of the stories on X and basically let's not waste any time. So the first story I wanted to kind of talk with you, Lucas, is what's your thoughts on this ridiculous propaganda by Israel showing off these civilians undressed? And there's a couple of kind of videos out on X where there's been a couple of takes that were taken by these guys who are well out of shape, old guys who are obviously definitely not Hamas, because these guys are well out of shape. And there's one take where he's taking the gun with his left side, and the other take is taking the gun with the right side. These guys are undressed. Obviously, they're there to be humiliated, and a couple of obviously trolls are saying, "Oh, these guys are all Hamas, blah blah blah." Plus, they need to check for suicide vests and stuff like that. So, if that's the case, why not undress them? Check for if they got any suicide vests or weapons, then put the clothes back on. What's the point of leaving them undressed? I mean, this seems like it's all for show and just trying to humiliate the Palestinians. What's your thoughts on this? Let's have a discussion on this, and we'll kind of go into other topics as well.
Well, I think that first of all, I've saw that people have identified these so-called Hamas terrorists, and they were like school teachers and other people who are not Hamas. As you mentioned, they're not in shape. However, we could say, okay, they're not in shape, but they're just regular people who may take pop shots at Israel. But the onus of proof is on the people saying they're Hamas terrorists. And I looked at there's not one uniform on the ground. There's like a few weapons, like 2 or 3 AK-47s. Like, where are all the tons of weapons? If these are all Hamas, and people said they were taken out of tunnels, and I'm like, well, if the Israelis were in those tunnels, they probably wouldn't have got out alive. So it doesn't make sense. And as you mentioned, there were several takes. One on one hand he had the AK in the right hand, the other take with the left hand. To me, this is Israel is getting destroyed on the PR front, and they have to have a moral victory. Like, hey, look what we did. But like I said, people have identified several of these so-called terrorists as regular people hiding in the school. So they humiliate them by stripping them down. I mean, look, they did the right thing to strip them if they had bombs, of course. This is just procedure, right?
Yeah.
But still, it's just, to me, it's a show that the Israelis are doing something positive to their end. Like, hey, look, we caught all these Hamas. They didn't catch anything. They're not catching Hamas. That's what they're doing. They're just getting civilians, and they're continuously murdering children. I saw the last number yesterday was 10,000
Yep.
babies and infants and children killed so far. And at this point, I can't take anyone seriously who even justifies it at all. Nobody. I just shame everyone who says anything that's positive for Israel at this point, because this is far beyond any response that was even logical in regards to what happened October 7th. So for me, this is just a PR stunt. Like, look, we did something, and really, everyone sees it's nonsense. And again, these are the same people who lied about 40 beheaded Jewish babies, a baked baby, mass rapes, and so on. So and I said, look at these people, the uniforms. They said, well, look at these guys wearing sandals in this video where they took the woman in the truck. Okay, fine, but what about all their weapons? You have 3 AK-47s, and you have like 50 men. I mean, where are their weapons? Are you saying only 3 people were armed? What did you really accomplish? So to me, it's just a setup. It's a staged event to give the Israelis some morale and to say, look, we found some bad guys when they really didn't.
Yeah, I mean, from what I can gather, Hamas, they don't seem like the type of people who would surrender,
No,
especially, I mean, these guys, they've probably lost their families, right? They've lost their kids, they've got nothing to lose. Why would they suddenly surrender? I mean, these guys, when they join Hamas, they know that it's basically fight or die.
yeah.
And these guys are literally running into tanks with these bombs with no fear. I mean, you've seen those clips where they just
Yeah, I saw them.
run.
Yeah, they come out of a
Yeah,
tunnel.
they come out of town and they run towards these tanks, and obviously there's covering fire from all sides, and there's other tanks covering one tank. But these guys have no fear. They're running towards these tanks with these bombs, placing these bombs, and then running back. I mean, you need like hearts of steel to do that. And you think these guys would suddenly just surrender to the Israeli army and get humiliated? Look how they're parading these guys around. Do you think any Hamas members would actually surrender now? I mean, looking at what Israel is doing,
No,
parading them around
from
naked. I mean, nobody would surrender looking at these images.
from what I understand, the Hamas people who flew over the wall knew they were going to die. It was a one-way mission, and they all were killed, from what I understand. So, however many went over that wall never came home, and that was the mission. So these are people that are not going to surrender. As you mentioned, they're not basically going to, they've lost everything. There is no surrendering. And that's what makes them so dangerous, right? How are you going to stop
Yeah,
an enemy who's willing to die? These people, I mean, like you said, they're out of shape. They were hiding in a school and they were taken out of the school. So these are people getting bullied and humiliated just to make a point that the Israelis are, again, it's for me, it's a PR stunt. Because right now, I'll tell you what, man, the Israeli PR is so bad. Their image, it's already been bad for decades. I mean, the people in the Middle East know. I've gotten emails from hundreds and hundreds, perhaps thousands of people from the Middle East, from all over. I'm talking Iran. I had one guy in Palestine. One kid told me he went up to the 8th floor of his building just to text me through his phone an email. Just, hey man, I'm like, I was shocked. Like, wow, someone reached out to me from Palestine, from the war zone. And so these people are telling me from all over the world. Now you see what we've been dealing with for 75 years. Now I know, but other Americans are now learning quickly, like, wait a minute, this is very bad. You cannot justify the mass murdering of children like this. You just can't. People said, sure, Israel should respond to Hamas, and they should have responded. But this is overkill, literally. This is insane. And they're saying, we are strategically bombing Hamas territory. You're bombing hospitals, schools, mosques. And all these Christian Zionists are so foolish. They bombed the oldest church in the area. They don't care. They're just bombing everything. They tell people, listen, go to this safe area, evacuate, and then they bomb the evacuation.
yeah,
It's just literally mass murder, and they're doing it right in our face, and they keep making excuses over and over again, and people are just not buying it. I mean, of course, when you watch the mainstream media, the pundits are saying, yeah, they buy it, they believe it, but most people, if you just talk to any normal person who has any human dignity, they're not buying it. They don't believe Israel at all. And you see these mass protests all over the world. Hundreds and hundreds, perhaps millions of people are against it. But the mainstream media is like, no, we have support for Israel, and all these politicians, they're not the real people. They don't represent us at all anyway. So when I talk to normal people, I see that they're waking up very quickly because of the actions of Israel.
I completely agree with you. I want to show you this clip, Lucas.
Sure.
Can you see the screen?
I
By the
see
way?
it. Yeah, I see
Okay,
it.
I'm going to play this clip, and I want to kind of get your thoughts on this.
بفتخر بخواتي وامي شهداء ربنا يرحمهم. لكن اقسم بالله العلي العظيم يا نتنياهو خلف هؤلاء الشهداء 3 من الابناء سيفجرون راسك يا ابن الكلب. ربنا يرحمهم شهداءنا. نحن ابطال. نحن غزه. اين انت ودول العربيه؟ حماك الله يا غزه. علمت كل دول العالم الرجوله. هالقد هيك دايره العالم كله مش قدر لها. ان شاء الله ابطال. ام شهيده ربنا يرحمها. خواتي شهداء ربنا يرحمهم. لكن حتنعاد الايام وحتصور انت وانا داش على رقابهم هيك جوا. زي ما داسوا في 7 أكتوبر لما حكوا جنود الاحتلال غنايم. ربنا يرحمك يما، واحنا ثابتين. ومية زي نتنياهو بده يجي، مين هذا بايدن بشخه ونتنياهو بشخه؟ مين؟ مشكلة ببينوش. يا ريت يا شولة يا ريت. أنا واقع والله، أنا فيش فيا حاجة، أضحك ها.
الله يرحمهم الله يرحمهم.
فيش فيا حاجة، عادي والله العظيم عادي ها.
So I just want to give you a context, because this guy has just lost his mom and his sisters, and he survived, obviously. And from what he said, basically what I'm trying to say is he's probably going to go and join Hamas, because he's got nothing left to do. He wants revenge for his mother, for his sisters. He's just been bombed, and you can see the bravery. He's not scared. He said, "I'm not hurt. I want to get you guys one day." So these bombing campaigns, they might kill one Hamas member, but they're breeding hundreds of new Hamas members. I mean, these little kids got enough. They've lost everything, and they all they want to do now is have revenge and join Hamas. And this is the thing, really. I mean, this bombing campaign thing is not really going to work, is it? I mean, you're killing all these civilians. You're angering not only the Palestinian people, you're angering the Muslim world. You're angering the Generation Zs. All these young kids all over the world who have been given the narrative that Israel are the good guys, blah blah blah. But now they're seeing all these dead civilians, kids, women, children. And you see this kid who's brave as hell. His just mother and his sisters died, and rather than crying, he's being completely brave about it. I mean, what's your thoughts on this? What's your take?
Well, this is what I was saying earlier. Okay, these people have nothing left to lose. I mean, they lost their families, and this kid was probably born in this concentration camp.
Yeah.
A lot of these people are born into this life. They have never known anything but living in this giant concentration camp. So, and they tried to make the best of it, and then this is what happens. They get bombed, they lose their children, they lose families. I mean, listen, I've seen the most brutal execution videos from Hamas. I'm not Hamas, from ISIS, from Mexican drug cartels, right? And when I see these babies, man, I tell you, I get teared up. I cry. I cannot understand how anyone can justify murdering children, but not one or two children, thousands and thousands. Now it's up to 10,000, and it's not stopping. And no one's telling them to stop other than a few countries. And then we have this veto in the UN. 13 countries say stop it, and the US goes, nope, nope, we're not stopping it. Now, this young boy, there's going to be hundreds more like him, thousands more.
Yep.
Because you cannot kill the resistance of people who will not give up their land. And you noticed when October 7th happened, many of these so-called indigenous Israelis got on a plane and left because it's not their land. They know it's not. They're not going to die for this land. So now we have these people who have been here for thousands of years who will never give up. And they rather die. I saw a father say, "You can kill all of us. We're not leaving." Literally said, "We're never going to leave ever." Now, the bombing campaign won't work because you could bomb the crap out of these people and you'll kill them. Sure. Not all of them, because in every war, after the artillery, after the Air Force, after whatever you do, you have to send the infantry in. And now Israel has sent the infantry and they're getting their asses kicked. Yep. And you've seen the videos, right? You've seen Hamas sniper them, rocket them. You saw the guy come out the tunnel, put the thing on the tank and blow up the tank. They got drones. I mean, this is bad for Israel. Look, urban warfare is the worst type of warfare because it's your backyard, right? Hamas, they got all the tunnels. They know where to snipe. They have all the advantage points. The Israelis are going into literal ambushes. Okay. Yep. We see that one picture, all the vehicles blown up. All the Israelis, they've lost thousands of troops, I believe, right? The Israelis?
Well, they've sent an update today saying there's only 100 Israeli soldiers who have been killed. But this seems to me like the Ukrainian tactic. Do you remember in the beginning of the Ukrainian
war?
No
dying.
In the Ukrainian one, in the beginning they were like exaggerating the Russian deaths, and they were like de-exaggerating the Ukrainian deaths. There's more Russians dying than Ukrainians, and it wasn't until 1 year later that the true Ukrainian deaths started coming out. But they don't send it out because of morale. Obviously, if they say that the thousands are killed, all of Israel would be up in arms and be like, "What the hell are you doing? Get the hell out of there!" So obviously they're going to hide the numbers. It just makes sense. I think the real numbers will come out maybe after the war or maybe after 6
Well, I
months.
mean,
Depends.
didn't they pull out because they were getting their asses beat so bad? I thought recently they pulled out because their invasion
Yeah,
failed.
yeah, they did. Yeah, I think that what they're doing is they go in, they get their asses kicked, then they move out, then they call in airstrikes, and
Yep, yep.
that's what they're doing. But the problem is with airstrikes, you can't really target the Hamas members,
Right.
and you cannot control the ground. You can from airstrikes you can kill a lot of civilians, but that's not really achieving your goals or your targets. I mean, all you're doing is killing kids and women.
Right. And they're flattening entire neighborhoods and saying, we're doing precision airstrikes. No, you're not. You're killing everyone, and everyone sees it. And there's literally no excuse whatsoever. And it's making Israel look terrible. Again, people in the Middle East who have messaged me, they said, we've known this for decades. And I go, yeah, me too. But look at this now. This is like in front of the world. This is like a live genocide. It's like a live stream of a genocide. There's no way. Because look, there's been protective edge years ago. There was cast iron. There's all that, or cast lead. And we heard about it later on, like this is what happened. 3,000 Palestinians were killed. 85% of them were civilians. There's only, and you mentioned they're killing Hamas. There was an airstrike where they killed 400 people, and the guy didn't even know, the commander didn't even know if they got the guy they were looking for. Like, they don't even know if the people are even there. And so for me, it's stupid because you're going to bomb civilians and hope to hit someone when the guy is probably not even in the area. And by the way, like you said, how are you going to get to the Hamas tunnels if you bomb the buildings above them? It makes no sense. So we all know that the Israelis they're exterminating these people. Now, Bibi Netanyahu brought up the term Amalek. Okay, Amalek is an ancient enemy of the Jewish people in the Torah. They said they're supposed to exterminate Amalek. So when you fight Amalek, you're supposed to kill everything about it. His men, women, children, cattle, everything. This is Bibi Netanyahu bringing up a religious term to justify mass murdering all these people completely. So people don't understand that. What does he mean by who's Amalek? Well, that's who Amalek is. Amalek is their arch enemy that has to be exterminated. It's one of the mitzvahs in Judaism. It's not just a Zionist belief. There's a mitzvah in Judaism to blot out the memory of Amalek and exterminate his seed from the earth. So if Bibi's saying this is Amalek, they're supposed to kill all of them, period. And that's why it's so brutal, because it's so dehumanizing. And we've seen the defense minister and other people call them human animals. And then there are people saying there are no innocents in Gaza. There are none, meaning they're all Hamas, even the children.
Yeah.
So it's the most dehumanizing, genocidal rhetoric you could ever imagine. And they have the chutzpah to say, no, we're avoiding civilians. No, you're not. And it's obvious. And of all the videos that I've seen of people being pulled out of the rubble, I have yet to see one Hamas member in uniform or anything like it. It's all children and women and people with limbs getting blown off. I seen fathers with a bag, two bags with the same child in it, just running around. And I just, man, it's just to see that is heartbreaking,
Yeah.
It's just like, it's not even a war. They're saying it's an Israel-Gaza war. It's not a war. It's literally a mass murder genocide, because the Palestinians have no air force. They have, other than Hamas fighting for them, they have nothing.
That's right.
Literally, it's just getting bombed. It's a 5-mile strip. There's no escape because the Egyptians won't open the border, and there's all these other things going on. And it's just literally, let's just kill them all. That's what it is. And it's happening right before our eyes. And people are starting to wake up like, this is not good. I mean, how can you justify this? It's something else, man. The world has never seen this live like this.
Yeah, so let's move on to the UN. So obviously there was a vote a few days ago, and the US vetoed it, and the bloody British were too chicken, and they they didn't veto it, but they just stood back, and they abstained from the vote. And what's your thoughts? I mean, it looks like the UN is pretty much useless, while the US has got veto power.
Yeah, it's a show. It's stupid. I mean, the fact that 13 countries could say no, and then the United States smugly goes like this. This guy, what's the point? What is the point? It's not a democracy. Why even vote if you know the U.S. is going to say no? They should just bring up the U.S. Hey, are we going to stop the ceasefire? No. Okay, end it there. Don't even bring anyone else. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It should go. This veto power should go away. It's stupid. It makes no sense. And so now these people have to, but at least the rest of the world is upset with it. I know there's one politician from Spain. I don't remember her name. She's like, let's bring Bibi to court. Let's bring him for war crimes. And that's great. But we need more people like that. And frankly, I don't know if the UN has the, cojones to do it. The Israelis are very nasty people. You might see these politicians have an accident. That's how these people are. You're dealing with a mafia. The Zionists are a global mafia. They will literally kill you. And frankly, people are afraid of it. But we cannot be afraid of these people. Even me, I don't know if you saw my ex, I posted a few weeks ago, I had police come to my house, and I'm in America.
Bloody hell.
I have free speech. Yeah, they came here for my Twitter posts or X posts because a few people from the Jewish community were concerned about my posts that were free speech, talking about we got to be hard on these people. And he's like, well, I have to show up here. And the point is they use intimidation tactics. I've been getting death threats. I've recorded some of them sent to my wife, others in my
Bloody
email.
hell.
Oh yeah, they do this all the time. And it's not just me. For example, there's Dr. Lupus. I don't know if you know her. He shows her people saying rape threats. I mean, these people you're dealing with demons. These people, there's something wrong with them and they don't care. And of course, what else can we expect from people who justify bombing babies? You know what else I've seen? I've seen Israelis laugh at these children being killed. Like they have these Telegram channels like, haha, barbecue. I'm like, there's a baby. And then one woman said, I think it was a Facebook post. It's an Arabic woman said, oh, thank God this kid's alive. And the Israeli goes, well, get him next time. Ha ha ha. I'm like, these people are mentally ill. I don't know what the hell's going on with them. But it's very bad. And I'm documenting what they're saying to me. I posted all in X. Others are documenting it. The whole world is seeing this catastrophe of a PR thing. I mean, there's no way people believe this stuff. I mean, we saw Elon Musk go to Israel, look at an empty crib. Yeah, a baby was killed here. And it's like they're showing ammo. And the ammo chain doesn't even match the PRK it's so stupid. And like, well, actually, it's because the guy was defending the crib. I mean, they make all these stories up. If anyone believes the Israelis at this point, I mean, I got a bridge to sell you. And that's how bad it is at this point. But yeah, look at this guy, smug. He's happy. Look at him.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. You have no shame. These people are crazy.
It's almost like a Nazi salute, right? The way he's putting his hand up.
I mean, I say the Zionists are worse than Nazis, and they don't like that.
Yeah.
They really don't like when I compare them to Nazis because they are. I mean, look, this is insane.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if the Nazis were just bombing Auschwitz? How about that? Just bomb out. That's essentially what's happening in Gaza.
Yeah.
Gaza is a concentration camp. And imagine if, Auschwitz was being bombed by the Luftwaffe 24/7, killing all the people. That's what's happening in Gaza.
Yeah, and imagine the NAZIs basically saying, "Oh, we're defending ourselves from the Jews, so we're going to bomb the hell out of them." That's what they're doing.
We're defending ourselves from the Jews in Auschwitz that have no weapons, no nothing, they're starving, no water, no electricity. Hey, we have a right to defend ourselves. That's what they're saying.
That's what they're doing. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they're doing.
It's no different than that, So I say they're worse than Nazis, and they really don't like that. The Israelis do not like to be compared to Nazis at all. It's like the worst thing. In fact, the one thing that they are pushing online, they want to push it, because you see Elon going back and forth with these people, is the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance of Anti-Semitism. This is an interesting definition. You know why? Because there's 11 points. The first 4 points deal with actually hating Jewish people and stereotypes. Well, the first point is the only one that's actually real. Wanting to harm Jewish people and kill them. We all agree that's anti-Semitism. The other 3 points is all, conspiracies about the media, George Soros, they have money. These are opinions. The other 7 have to do with Israel. So if you compare Israel to Nazi Germany, anti-Semitism. If you say Israel is racist, that's anti-Semitism. If you say it's comparable to the Holocaust, they're doing a Holocaust, like literally, it's mostly about Israel. And of course, the ADL pushes this. When Elon Musk was in front of the Sanhedrin of 10 rabbis on that X space humiliating him, they were trying to push it because what happens now, they've pushed this definition, I think 26 countries or more, where it's an unbinding law. You know what I mean? It's not a law yet. I'm sure they'll want to push it there. So if you criticize, that's why they run around saying anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, according to this definition, which is stupid because anyone could be a Zionist. In fact, There are more non-Jewish Zionists than Jews on the planet. There are many Christian Zionists in America who are actually the biggest power behind it, who want to go to Israel and help them no matter what. So it makes no sense that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, because first of all, half the Jews in the world don't live in Israel. They live mostly in the United States and in other parts of the world. So how is it anti-Semitic to not like Israel or criticize Israel or whatever the hell about it? Who cares about Israel, right? It's just another state. But they make it where it's anti-Semitic to even, condemn it for what it's doing, comparing it to Nazi Germany. So that's why I really stick it to them by comparing them to Nazi Germany.
Well, they're doing exactly what the Nazis did to them, really. And there's a theory that if you abuse someone, the abused usually becomes the abuser, and that seems to be what's happened to them. And they've basically become the worst kind of abuser, and it's just
Zionism.
sickening.
There is a truth that there is the National Socialists, the Nazis. They did make a deal with Zionists before the war. They wanted to peacefully relocate them into Palestine. So there was something called the Havara transfer before the war. So the Zionists said, "Hey, send us over here. We'll get Jews out of Europe. We all win. Help us set up a state." It was happening, and then the war broke out, and the deal broke. So the Zionists believe, as the Nazis did, blood and soil, right? So the Nazis were blood and soil, Blut and Boden, right? Germans for Germany. The Zionists believe Jews and the Holy Land. It's kind of the same thing. You know what I mean? And in Israel, all you got to do is prove that you have Jewish DNA to go there. That's really it. I mean, whereas in Judaism, you're a Jew through your mom. Halakhic law says you're Jew through your mother. Zionists said anything makes you a Jew. Your grandfather, your father, it doesn't matter if your mom's a Jew. That's a Zionist viewpoint, because we have genetics now, we could tell. But the Jews thousands of years ago, the only way you could tell you were Jewish is if you came out of a Jewish woman, right? It makes sense. But now we have paternity tests. You can say, actually, I'm Jewish too. My father's a Jew and whatever. So the Zionists go off DNA and say, hey, if you got any DNA, you can come over here from New York and kick out this Palestinian guy who's been here for hundreds of years, and it's your property because you're a Jew, right to return. And that's the crazy part. That's what happened. That one video, if I don't steal it, who's going to steal it? That guy?
Yeah.
Oh, you cannot steal my house. Well, how about I didn't do it. I didn't do this. Well, he's from Brooklyn. So what does this Brooklyn guy have to do with Palestine? It's just because of the blood type or the bloodline of the Jewish community living there thousands of years ago before the Romans destroyed the temple. That's what they're saying. And the crazy thing is that the Zionists who founded Israel are atheists. So how can they make claim to a holy land? It's so stupid. But anyway, that's what we're seeing here. It's just a lot of hypocrisy and chutzpah. It's insanity.
I want to show you something, actually. There's a theory going around, and this theory is basically here you go. So I don't know if you can see my screen, but
I see it, yeah.
So the same people who are pro-Israeli Zionists, they are pro-Ukrainian,
Yes.
they are pro-Pride,
Yeah.
and these are the same people I see online on Twitter. When the Ukraine war started, these are the same people peddling the same narrative. They were saying that Ukraine's winning, Russia's losing, and then during the woke wars and the woke culture wars before the Ukraine war, these woke monsters are basically going around Twitter canceling anyone that's anti-trans or anti-gay and stuff.
Yeah.
So these seem like the same sort of people. I mean, these guys there's an army of them online on Twitter, and these are the same people who fight these culture wars and these woke wars, fight for Ukraine, fight for Israel, and they're doing. I mean, it seems like they're full time as well. These are not like part time people. These are full time.
The last back I got was like from some kind of Israeli bot farm.
Yeah,
like, you'll never catch us. And I delete the number, and another number would show up. It's like, ha ha ha! I was like, well, this guy's not some guy on the internet. This guy's in Israel. He's like, I'm like, you're finished, right? He goes, I'm in Israel. What are you going to do about it? So like, I was getting text messages from all these different companies. My email was getting flooded with all these magazine. Welcome to Sunflower Magazine, and running like hundreds of them. Like, this guy's a pro. So we have Unit 82. Everyone knows about Unit 82. It's an online part of the Israeli Military Intelligence Unit, which focuses on promoting Israel positively online, combating anti-Semitism online, the Jewish Internet Defense League or Defense Force, right? The Jade IDF, where they have to fight people online and give Israel a good. They're literally. It's like remember NAFO.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, they attacked me by the thousands. Literally, I had to block 7,500 NAFO trolls.
Wow.
With the extension. I got the whole list there because they were coming after me very quickly after when the Ukraine. It was actually them that shifted me to understand Russia's position. It's kind of ironic, actually. But yeah, it's the same people because honestly, it's the same neocons. Because look, Nuland is behind the war in Ukraine. She's a Jewish person who's a neocon. And Blinken and all these, they all support Israel. They all happen to be Jewish people who are neocons. That's what they are. And they don't like Russia. And Russia is kind of resisting Israel, right? They kind of have deals with Iran and Syria. They're protecting Syria from Israeli aggression in a way. So there's like something going on with Russia and the Middle East there, where it's like they play nice with Israel, but then they do stuff against it. Like here's some missiles, Iran. Here's some. Hey, how about we'll take care of Assad for you? We'll pull the weapons back. So Russia's kind of up there. I don't know all the details, but it seems to me they don't like what Israel's doing. And I've seen the Russians say things about Israel should probably chill out with this stuff. But they're it is the same people because it's the same it's the West pushing this. It's the neocons pushing these wars because they benefit from them.
Yep. And I want to talk about Alex Jones as well. And Alex Jones, he's obviously come back on Twitter. But it's no coincidence that only one of the reasons he got banned is because he was talking about Zionism and he was quite an anti-Zionist, his earlier clip show. And then he came on Tucker Carlson and he was saying that China controls the world and Congress. And then
globalist China.
Yeah. And then one day later he comes back on Twitter. So it goes to show if you talk shit about China, you get promoted. But if you talk about Zionism, you get banned. Yeah. So it just goes to show that actually maybe Israel and the Zionists do control the world because
they control
everything.
True.
So if you look at all the companies that they control, you have Disney, you have all of these media companies, film companies, you have social media companies like Facebook, Instagram, you have all these fast food joints. So all of this woke culture that you've been seeing all for the past 10 years seems to be all coming from Zionism, and maybe they are put there to destroy society. And because with Zionism, they believe that they are the chosen race and the chosen, they're chosen by God, right? And so what they're doing, they are destroying the West, destroying Christianity with all these woke culture, destroying society. And they're obviously starting wars in the Middle East, trying to kill as many Muslims as they can. So there's stories about how they are the ones that planted COVID in China. So they're basically having this world domination thing. They're targeting each and every part of the world. What do you think of that conspiracy? I mean, I'm sure Alex Jones was proud of that.
Well, Alex, if you go back to 2001, he actually blames the Israelis for 9/11. And we have the clips. We have the receipts. And, others around him have said it too. But then it kind of changed over time. And in 2008, he said there's a Jewish mafia at the heart of the New World Order. So you mentioned it like that. Now he's like, listen, I love Jewish people, but there are some bad Jews. But actually, it's the Jews being scapegoated by the super Nazis at the Vatican. And it's like a fake Jewish. And it's like all these gymnastics, because, I mean, look, even people come out and say, look, yeah, it's a bunch of Jewish folks pushing this and that. They're Jewish themselves saying it. How do you get to refute that? But the point is, look at BlackRock, founded by 6 Jewish people. I don't know if they're Zionist or not. But here's the thing I've figured out. The Zionist, anti-Zionist thing is also a good cop, bad cop. I call out Jewish supremacy, right? Which is mostly Zionism, but even these Torah Jews people, they were actually telling Elon to ban me because I figured out their game. Because a few weeks ago, Jewish Voice for Peace actually stopped their own protesters from stopping a Zionist fundraiser. And I was like, that's pretty strange. It's kind of like controlled opposition. So like we got to be careful with this. So I just call it Jewish supremacists in general. Anyone who thinks they're superior, because you said they think they're chosen by God, but the Zionists aren't religious. But the extremist right-wing religious Jews do believe that. And they're the ones that Bibi Netanyahu had to align himself with to get power, right? Because then there's left-wing Jewish people in Israel, gayest capital in the world, intermixed marriages. So even Israel has a lot of issues. Like any other country, they have a left, like Haaretz is a left-wing publication who always seems to be ratting out Israel, right? Like a lot of the headlines that I use are from Haaretz, talking about racism and this and that in Israel. So, they have a split country there. It's not like they're all unified one. But after this October 7th thing, it kind of because look, Bibi Netanyahu was getting protested against. Israel was split up. And then magically, this October 7th thing happens, unites everyone. Bibi becomes this hero, and then there's Hamas. And then, let's get rid of all these Palestinians. It's like the final solution for Palestine. So in regards to Zionism, I just say Jewish supremacy because they use Zionism, but they also use open society, like George Soros. So what I see is a pincer movement, right? You have Zionists who push this Zionist imperialism to blow up the people in the Middle East, right? And then send those people to the Middle East into Europe and cause this migration crisis, which actually helps the globalists, George Soros types, promote their idea of world domination. So it's like they're coming from both sides, you see? So Zionist imperialism and open society from George Soros, so they control everything over, you see what I mean? So it's not just Zionism. There's a supremacist element in both the left and the right of Jewish supremacy. I call it the Jewish pincher movement. Now, people say, well, there are Jews who are against it. Yeah, of course, not every Jew is involved. It's not about hating every person, but it's not many because many of these people are brainwashed. They either go to left, they go to the right, just like most people, right? They're either Republican or Democrat. It's very similar in any group. But the thing is, like I said, Zionism is obviously the most dominant. We have AIPAC, 100% Zionist. Every politician in America goes there, literally from the left and the right. So you see America, the Democrat, Republican, it's just the same thing. They disagree on stupid things. But hey, Israel, emergency funding. Here's some Iron Dome missiles, no matter what we have. And we have Nancy Pelosi, that one clip saying, even if our nation was crumbling, our capital was crumbling, we would never stop giving aid to Israel. So, we have our politicians they're bought by Israel lobby. And there's many people who've admitted this. My friend Cynthia McKinney, she's a former congresswoman. She was there 6 times. And she said, yeah, I was doing well until I had to run into this Israeli lobby. And if you don't sign the pledge, you lose the election. And that's what happened to her. She didn't sign the pledge. They funded her opponent. And then the other one won. Or they gerrymander your what do you call it? I forgot the term. What's the term when you have this whatever the voting blocks or whatever?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? I forgot the term for
it.
And then we also James Traficant, the late James Traficant said, he said to Greta on Fox, I believe the Zionists have a powerful stranglehold on everything. That's right, the media and everything, and we see that with Fox. We see even we see it on all sides, regardless of the political affiliations. So that's the problem we have is this dominance, this supremacist dominance. And, there are Jewish billionaires who push the money, like the late Sheetal Adelson. He was the one who really funded the most money on both the left, the Republicans. Then you have the Chaim Sabans who put money to the left wing. They're all over the place. But there's also that Christian Zionist element. And, for anyone who's a Christian, you look into Christian Zionism, it's a perverted ideology. If you're a Christian, you're supposed to believe that Jesus Christ was the final messenger and he made a new covenant, that the supremacy of the Jewish people is no longer there. The chosen ones are now everyone, right? That was Christ's message. Like, there's no difference between a Jew and a Greek. You don't have to get circumcised, you get baptized, that kind of thing. But this Christian Zionism was usurped by the Schofield Bible, which teaches them, no, the end times, we have to go to Israel and there has to be an apocalypse, and the Jews are still the chosen people no matter what. No matter what they do, it doesn't matter because all this other stuff, it's just weird things that make no sense. So we have to understand that Zionism in any form is a problem. So whether it's Christian Zionism or Jewish Zionism, whatever it is a problem around the world. It is the greatest threat we've ever seen to this day. And look at the Palestinian children suffering from this phenomenon more than anyone. It's just, how can anyone defend it? It's really shocking that people actually do it. And we got to kill Hamas and we got to bomb Hamas. Like, these people are programmed that it's just everything's Hamas, but it's not.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I just got to say that Kanye was right. I mean,
of course he was right.
Yeah,
of course he was right.
Kanye can say anything about black people, Muslims, Chinese, and everybody would agree with him. As soon as he mentions Jews, that's say it gets cancelled.
Well, and it's the thing is that I tell people I'm just saying like there are Jewish people who've come out and said things like Gilad Atzmon. I post a lot of stuff about him. He talks about the political Jewishness. Zionism is just one expression of this Jewishness politically. He said Jewish Voice for Peace is still Jewish supremacy. It's still a exclusive movement run by Jewish folks. And then they're not getting banned from Congress. It's BDS that they want to ban because it's not Jew. You see what I mean? So, but Kanye said some things. And then what happened? They proved that he was right by going after him. And Jonathan Greenblatt says, if we don't stop Kanye now, then the myth of us being able to stop him spreads. It's like, what? Well, you just proved it, you dumbass. And so we saw what happened to Ye and all these. And look, before Ye, there was Michael Jackson said the same thing.
Yeah.
And he died mysteriously over
Yep.
Now we got this guy, Haley Pasternak, looking for Ye to probably kill him with drugs. I mean, this is what's happening. But Marlon Brando, there's been several celebrities that said many things about the industries. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, Lex Fridman, that young kid who does the podcast with the monotone voice, well, they're just Jewish individuals. And Ye's like, would you help me? And he's like, I'll help. It never helped him. And I actually said to Lex, did you help Kanye yet? And he blocked me because I called him out. You said you're going to help Kanye fix the contracts. Listen, if the ADL really cared about Jewish people and the reputation of Jewish people, they would have said, look, Ye, we don't appreciate that you said DEFCON 3. We don't appreciate you're being anti-Semitic and you love Hitler, but let us know who these bad people are with the contracts. We'll use our boycott power to put them out of business if they don't fix the contracts, and you apologize, and that would have been a good deal, right? Instead, they did nothing about the contracts and destroyed Kanye's life. That just shows you they don't care about their own people. The ADL is a big scam. And I did, remember Ban the ADL campaign on Twitter?
Yeah.
I was one of the main. So Keith Wood started it. It went down to me. It went to Jake Shields, Sam Parker. All these guys joined in. It went viral as hell. It went out of our hands because people were literally grassroots. So we did a lot of research on the ADL, and they're tied to Israel, of course. They're spying on Americans. They did a lot of illegal activity. There are people from the ADL. Check this out. There was one guy, his name was Mordecai Levy or something. This guy in the 70s, he put together a neo-Nazi march and the counter protest. It's like they create anti-Semitism to literally grift off everyone, including Jewish people. So let's suppose there's a Jewish kid who makes bomb hoaxes to him, to a synagogue. They'll count that as anti-Semitic incidents, even though it's fake. They don't. It's still, or like someone goes to work and someone says something mean. That's an anti-Semitic incident, and it's up 3,000%. Like there is no real anti-Semitism out there. Sometimes there are people getting hurt. Someone gets a lot of these Jewish folks in New York. They have these really expensive hats. You ever see those big hats? Some black guy will steal the hat because it's $5,000, right? In like the Bronx or something. Okay, did he steal it because it's a Jew or because the hat's $5,000? I don't know. So is there anti-Semitism? Sure, there is some anti-Semitism, but is it 3,000%? The greatest threat in humanity. What I find crazy right now is there are a lot of folks on TV. We don't feel safe on our campuses. We're scared. There are kids being blown up, and you're scared about people saying, from the sea to whatever the hell will be free. Like the words are scary, but you bombing children isn't like a bad thing. Like, are you guys serious? So they're always playing the victim, and people are getting sick of it. They're getting sick of it. And that's why, Ye was right. And I'm just sitting here watching Israel like, good job, guys. Keep going. Keep waking people up because you're doing all the heavy lifting for everyone. So it's true, man, that, Ye was right in many ways. And unfortunately, we've seen these children pay for it, and now it's proven to the world, right? And you see like, what was these presidential debates? It's just like, who could suck up to Israel the most? That's really what it is. Yeah. Like, who do these people run? Who are they working for? Right. So it's all there. It's all up there. It's all in your face at this point. It's undeniable.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're a celebrity and you speak out against Israel, your career is over. I mean, there's a couple of actresses. One is Melissa Barrera. She was in the Scream franchise. I don't know if you watch Scream. And also, I saw
she was fired or something.
Yeah, she was fired from the Scream franchise. And also Susan Sarandon. And also, funnily enough, Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about the Palestinian plight. But yesterday I saw him invited to the Jewish. He went to Israel, or he met some Jewish dignitaries, and he was given some dog tag or something, and he was asked to apologize, and basically they got him. Well,
He's been a cuck for. Look, I loved Arnold when I was a kid,
yeah,
man.
yeah, me too.
He was my
Yeah,
idol. Conan the Barbarian, Terminator
yeah,
2,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
all this stupid ass movies, Commando. He was like the man.
yeah,
And then, you know, with COVID, screw your freedom. Blah, 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 screw your freedom. And then he's like, then he goes to Auschwitz. He goes, this is terrible people here. My father was a Nazi. He was a loser. And I'm like, bro, I mean, like, I get it. Like, he just goes out of his way to suck up to these people. Now, now he gets the dog tag and everything like that. And Elon got the dog tag too. But, you know, it's like, Arnold, I was disappointed in him. I know it was really based. James Vanderbeek. You remember the guy from Dawson?
Yeah,
Of all the people,
yeah,
you would think Stallone, you would think Arnold, you would think The Rock. No, these are the worst. Oh, Stallone's not too bad.
yeah,
But
yeah,
my God, Arnold and The Rock are the biggest pussies out there.
yeah, yeah.
And freaking James Vanderbeek is based.
And Mark Hamill as well. Mark Hamill, who from Star Wars,
Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker, who you know, he was supposed to be the Jedi fighting for the Resistance against the Empire.
You're not supposed to join the Sith. You were supposed to destroy the Sith, man.
Yeah.
No, but these people work in Hollywood. They know who their masters are.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to be like, look, for example, John Voight, right? And Angelina Jolie is pro-Palestine. Her father does this scripted, like, my daughter has disappointed me. And I'm like, bro, you're reading a fucking script. I can see you're reading a script. It's pathetic. And you're justifying these war crimes. I mean, everyone who supports Israel is on the wrong side of history. And eventually the media is going to implode. And by the way, X is like where to go. X is really where it is. If Elon didn't buy Twitter and turn it to X, we would have shrines to the 40 beheaded Jewish babies that never happened all over the world.
Yeah.
Because it was people like myself, Soliman, we have like a whole group of Jake Shields and all these other people. All the guys that I affiliate with in our little chat room we got, who did Band of ADL, Keith Woods and all this other stuff. The same crew who did Band of ADL is the same crew destroying the narrative, right, of the 40 beheaded Jewish babies, because we're not scared to question it, right? A lot of people are afraid to question Jewish folks because of the Holocaust and all these atrocities and all that. I'm not scared of anything. I said, you're making a claim of Jewish babies being beheaded. 40 of them. If you said one or two, I'd say, maybe that happened. Yeah. You said 40, this guy. You said 40, not one or two, 40. I'm like, where are they at? Show me them.
Yeah.
Because I can show you thousands of babies getting blown up into pieces. Thousands of Palestinians. You can't show me what. And now they have these, these secret screenings of Hamas terrorism. You know what I mean? We don't know what's in these screenings. Was I shown the screening? Now, did some Hamas or perhaps even actually one of the Israeli soldiers said it wasn't Hamas doing these things. It was the civilians who came with Hamas, pissed off. I mean, sure, they're going to do some barbaric things. I don't say October 7th didn't happen, but it turns out 1,500 Israelis, they shrink it down to 1,200. Oh, some of them are shot up by their own helicopters. It's very bad. But yeah, and even if it happened the way they told us, does it justify a 10x kill death ratio of civilians? If it was Hamas lost 10,000 people and then Israel only lost 1,500, whatever, that's a war, right? Your machine is better, but you're killing unarmed civilians. Not only that, collective punishment, war crime, cutting off water, food, electricity, bombing hospitals.
Yep.
These are all war. There's not a single thing that isn't a war crime. And no one's doing anything about it at all. That's the crazy part. So, I've been talking about it. All the people I affiliate with talk about it. And we are the counter strike against the Israeli propaganda, which is all over the media, but it's not necessarily all over X. And I know that Elon met with Bibi Netanyahu. I know people say Zionism is dominating. But it's crazy. Someone made a graph and it showed all the networks, right? The guy in the middle is Dr. Eli David. You know this guy? You've seen him.
Yep.
I call him Dr. Evil David. He's in the middle of this graph and all these circles and then there's me, Keith Wood, Sam Park, all the guys I'm with, Jake Shields. And we get more engagement that is naturally or rather organic than all these Zionist shills that are literally in the center. They're like getting nothing compared to us that's real. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think they underestimated the support that Palestinians are getting, because during the woke wars, I remember people used to get cancelled literally like so easily. If you say anything about trans people, all of
You
these
say learn the code, you'd be duped.
yeah,
You
the pronoun.
learn the code, you got nuked
Yeah,
off Twitter.
exactly, like pronouns and stuff. And
Yeah.
people used to get cancelled like crazy. Then the Ukraine war started, and again, people were silenced, because if they say anything good about Russia, or if they say anything bad about Ukraine, they used to get silenced so easily. Nobody said a word. But they underestimated, I think, the Muslim population around the world, the 2 billion Muslims who are up in arms, absolutely horrified. Then you have all of these Gen Z youngsters who have been basically living in a bubble. They never knew that Palestine was a concentration camp. They all, not all these kids are suddenly seeing images of dead kids everywhere on social media, because at the end of the day, social media is for young kids, right? TikTok and X.
TikTok,
And suddenly they're seeing all these images of dead kids. All these youngsters are absolutely shocked. And then you have all of these even Jewish people who are protesting with the Muslims, and Christians are protesting with the Muslim. People are just waking up. And all of these people that they're paying to kind of to shill for them and to kind of cover for their war crimes, it's just not working, because in terms of numbers, X is absolutely killing it with the pro-Palestinian stuff, and they're just losing the narrative big time.
And that's probably with shadow banning it too. It's so organic, it's not working. Like, for example, my account went from like 100, it went from 70,000 like 200 something 90. It's on my 219 now, thousand in like 2 months. It blew up so fast, you know. Well, it's organic though. It's not synthetic like Dr. Eve.
Yeah, I mean,
other time.
I had 100,000K account actually, and I got banned after the Ukraine war because I was speaking out about Ukraine, and my account got banned. So I just opened another one. So I'm kind of starting again, but I lost that one. But I don't care. At the end of the day, like, you know, you still given a voice, and I think that in terms of numbers, they are badly losing the narrative, and they know it.
The numbers, it's gone. The narrative's over.
And talking about numbers, I wanted to kind of talk to you about the Israeli, how much money they're losing, because one of these tanks, Merkava tanks, it costs around 3 million. And these Hamas guys who basically make these rockets at home, costing maybe a couple of $100, and maybe, let's say, about 5 direct hits would probably take out a $3 million tank. And the numbers I'm seeing, Hamas are saying they took down about 300 tanks already.
Wow.
Israel is saying there's at least, like, I think 400, 500 vehicles. They're not saying tanks, but they're saying vehicles. It could be other vehicles as well. And if you count the numbers, let's say 100 Merkava tanks have been destroyed. That's 3 million. Yeah, 3 million times 100. And then you got to also take in all these other vehicles. Plus, they're not having any tourism. All their businesses are shut down because everyone's being drafted in the military. So they're not making any money, Israel. And they're basically going to be surviving on American aid. So the longer this war goes on, Benjamin Netanyahu is going to be the next Zelensky. He's going to be going to America begging for money in a few months. He's saying, "All right, we'll give us another 50 billion," or
And we'll gladly give it to him. That's the sad part. But we got to cut these people off, man. Israel should be sanctioned onto her knees.
I remember it was Israel that was pushing for the Iraq war, and I remember Benjamin Netanyahu was.
I guarantee if you do this, reverberations. He lied so bad. And it turns out the Israelis gave us the fake intelligence that Saddam got yellow cake, and it's like all of them lied. It's all about, and it's all lies from these people. And again, like, after debunking them in real time, like, we proved in real time, we didn't hit the hospital. Oh, yes, we did hit the hospital. No, we didn't. The babies, yes, they did. No, they didn't. Like, we've debunked them so many times. I don't think anyone should trust anything from Israel, and especially their casualties. I guarantee their casualties are higher than they claim, because they want to keep this idea that they're winning. And that's why I think they stripped down these people in the school to make this, fake victory, to boost the morale of the troops and tell the Israeli people, look, we're winning. We got these Hamas terrorists. And, what's crazy, though, is when I watch the Israeli side speak, they're so hateful of oh my God, I just block everyone. Like, the second I see an Israeli flag, I just block it. I have no interest talking to these
Yeah.
people. There is no talking to them. There is no
Yeah.
convincing them. Doesn't matter what you show them. It
No.
doesn't matter. And
Yeah,
like
it's
I
no
said,
point talking to them. Exactly. It's no point.
yeah,
And I want to like turn the attention to America now, and
sure.
you know, basically rubbing shoulder to shoulder against Israel is completely against American interests in the world. I mean, the global South has voted for the UN resolution, and US was the only country which put its hand up and vetoed it. They're the only country that's paying Israel, giving them weapons, giving them like £2,000 bombs, for example. I mean, why do
Yeah.
you need £2,000 bombs to,
Well,
hit
even apparently bunker busters too, where they
bunker busters?
basically
Yeah,
walk and then they
exactly.
explode, which would make
No,
sense to hit the tunnels. It would make sense, but why are we
yeah,
involved with this stuff?
yeah, and also banned weapons as well, like phosphorus bombs and
Mhm.
all sorts of deadly. Even the tanks are using uranium shells, from what I heard as well.
No, that's
Um,
not good. That's not
yeah,
good at all.
so they're using all sorts of like banned weapons, and America is standing shoulder to shoulder in Israel, but this is probably the worst time to stand with Israel because the world is changing, Lucas. You see,
Yes.
the world is going multipolar.
Yep.
There's more and more countries dumping the dollar. The BRICS uh, and the global South is moving away from the United States, moving away from the dollar. And I don't know if you've seen images of Putin going to Saudi Arabia a couple of days ago. He was given the red star treatment,
Red
rock star
carpet.
treatment,
Yeah,
red
yeah,
carpet,
yeah, yeah.
red carpet, rock star treatment, red carpet. He was like shaking hands and hugging all the Saudis. He went to UAE, and there was planes flying with the Russian flag, and the global South is all moving to Russia and China. You've seen Iran as well.
Mhm.
And now the world is slowly going to be thinking, you know what? There is no point rubbing shoulders with Americans anymore. Let's just gonna become friends with Russia and China. At least these
I
guys are
agree.
not.
And I
Um,
think and even Israel will abandon us. Watch, our greatest ally will abandon us the second they can.
yeah.
Guaranteed.
Well, of course. I mean, did Israel help United States in Ukraine? They didn't. I mean,
Right.
from what I know, Israel gave only like a minimum amount of help. Little bit of money here and there, a little bit of non-lethal weapons. So Israel is there for its own interest, and they're
Of
just
course.
using United States to basically, for their own needs, own gains. And I just do not think this is in America's interest because the dollar is falling fast. I mean, more and more countries are just dumping the dollar. The economy is not doing well, and the debt is going through the roof. I think we're close to like 34 trillion. I think we're now 33.9 trillion. We're gonna be hitting 34 in a matter of days by the looks of it. Um, so yeah, I just do not understand America's stance here because if it was a strong president, like if Biden was a strong president, he would just stand up, say, you know what, we're not going to give any weapons. We're going to, you guys need to talk peace. You need to sit down and work things out. We're not going to allow you to kill any more civilians. If you need to go and hunt Hamas, you can do that with special ops, but we're not going to allow you to kill women and children. At least a strong, American president would stand up, and he would get so much respect from the world. The world would, stand up and clap and say, you know what, America, these guys, they do have values and moral principles. Because before all of this has happened, right, they were going around the world talking human rights with everyone, saying, oh, human rights is on the top of our agenda. We support human rights and stuff. And but when it comes to Palestine, they're just completely silent.
Of course. Yeah.
All these women and kids being killed, they don't absolutely say anything.
Well, you have to understand that our foreign policy is absolutely in the control of the Israelis. That's it. The American, the APAC, and all these other Jewish lobbies, they run our country. They basically run the media, they run academia, they run the military-industrial complex, they run the cabinet. I mean, it's just the president is just a puppet. Biden just does what he doesn't even know where he is. So to think he knows, it's Blinken calling the shots, right? It's these people behind him that are like Newland engineered the war in Ukraine. So it's like, it's not Biden. He's just a figurehead. It's like, that's it. He's not a powerful person. He doesn't know where he is. And that's how this stuff works. But the American Congress and the Senate is controlled by Israel, 100%. That's what our foreign policy reflects. Israel is not our ally, not even officially. So when they say it's our greatest ally, there is no treaty ratified that says Israel's our ally that has to do anything for us whatsoever. And they never do. In fact, they've harmed us so many times. And there's people who talk about Israel being involved in 9/11. They didn't tell us the information there. They didn't tell us about the Beirut bombing. They're probably involved in JFK assassination, RFK. We go all sorts of conspiracy theories, but they did attack the USS Liberty. That's a fact. They killed their sailors in 1967. Yep. If the Iranians did that to our sailors in 1967, USS Liberty, killing 34 sailors, injured 174, we would have bombed Iran instantly. Israel did it. They got away with it. No problem. They've done a lot of things, a lot of terrorism. In 1947, the Israeli freedom fighter militias, right, the Stern Gang, they sent letter bombs to Harry Truman. Can you imagine this? They sent letter bombs to our president in 1947. Nothing happened. I mean, these people get away with everything. They are the fathers of they literally invented terrorism, the Israelis. And they have the chutzpah to say, these people are terrorists or those people are terrorists. They're the fathers of terrorism. And most of their prime ministers were literally terrorists. Ben-Gurion, Ariel Sharon, these people are murderers. And Bibi as well. So again, it's just hypocrisy on top of hypocrisy. But all of this is washed away with the Zionist media. It's not just the United States. It's also in France. It's also in England. Yep. It's in Europe in general.
Yeah,
so, and that's why, I mean, in France, what was 16 senators wanted to pass a law that if you question Israel or whatever, it's like thousands of euros or some stupid thing like this. If you walk around with a Palestinian flag, you might go to jail in England or something. I mean, it's crazy. So the Zionist power it's out there. It's literally in your face. There's it's not even a conspiracy anymore. It's literally there. You know, our Congress just, this resolution, they passed it for Israel the right to exist, plus anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism. 412 representatives said yes, and like 2 abstained or something. Thomas Massey said no. Tlaib said, I'm here. She's present. So that just shows you the overwhelming, it's absolutely dominated. So there is no president's going to go, screw Israel. It's not going to happen. The last president that did that was JFK. He got his head blown off. That's the precedent. It's like, if you don't go against Israel, you will be assassinated, and then he'll cover it up and blame the guy who was actually assassinated by another guy named Jack. So Lee Harvey Oswald was apparently the assassin, and he was then assassinated by Jack Ruby, whose name is Jack Leon Rubinstein, who was tied to the Jewish mafia. It's all there, man. You have to look into it. But the Israelis are dirty people. They will assassinate. We know they assassinate Iranian scientists. They assassinate political leaders from other countries. They don't care. They'll bomb children. They'll bomb medics. They'll bomb anyone. They'll kill UN people. They've killed UN people in Israel. They don't care. They're basically untouchable because of the United States. So if the United States crumbled, Israel, where they're going to have to get their support from, they're going to have to finagle their way to the east and go be friends with Russia, and they'll betray the United States. They already have. Jonathan Pollard, the greatest espionage ever in our history. Again, USS Liberty. I can go off all the things they've done wrong to us. Okay, the guy who made the movie Fight Club, Arnon Milchan, stole nuclear secrets from us. Right, he's an Israeli guy producing Fight Club in America, but his life, he was actually a spy who stole our secret. I mean, can you believe this? And it's open. He's like, it's my country, of course. This guy should be executed. But he's running around. Let's make a movie about him. They didn't make the movie, but this is how bad it is. It's like we're a laughingstock of the world. And again, our presidency absolutely compromised. Go listen to the Nixon tapes, what he says about these people. They're spies. They're everywhere. The Nixon tapes tells you this has been going on for a long time. So America's completely compromised. Don't expect America to change at all, unless there's an absolute overthrow of the neocon Zionist establishment and the media and the banking system, by the way, too. I mean, God, the Federal Reserve is run by Yellen right now. She's magically part of that tribe. And before her was Bernanke, a same guy, not before her, but the one before the guy who wasn't the Jewish person was Bernanke. And then there was Alan Greenspan. And it's all these people that's mathematically impossible that they're there, but they're there. They're there somehow. And they're all Zion, and they all support Israel. And what did Yellen say? We can afford this war. We can afford to do Zelensky and Israel. So no, we can't. No, we can't afford it. You're just saying we can. Because, of course, the people pay the price for these wars.
Yep. And I know that we've run out of time now because it's been 1 hour, but I wanted to play this clip and then we'll probably say our goodbyes. I just want to play this clip
Sure.
and see what you
With
think.
dozens of men, some bound and blindfold, stripped to their underwear, and we believe now at least some of that filmed by IDF members. What was the purpose of the exercise that was going on at that point in that part of Gaza?
First of all, remember it's the Middle East and it's warmer here, and especially during the day when it's sunny, it's to be asked to take off your shirt. It might not be pleasant, but it's not the end of the world.
Wow, what a cope.
Did you see that? They're not even hiding it now. I mean, but it doesn't explain why these Palestinians were paraded around at night with no shirts on and completely naked.
Well, it gets hot in the desert when it's nighttime. I remember in Iraq, it was freezing at night.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
Sun,
that's right.
The sand reflects the sun off the face of the earth. So when there's no sun, it's really cold. But yeah, no, these people, they just lie. They don't even, the guy is probably, that just probably just came out of him without thinking.
Yeah.
And it's such a stupid cope. It's ridiculous.
I mean, this guy was going to ask you that he sounds South African, and obviously he was probably part of the South African apartheid regime, and then he probably escaped to Israel, and he's doing the same thing.
Yeah, no, these people, look, Israel is a safe haven for crooks. That's what it is. A lot of pedophiles escape to Israel.
Yep.
Speaking of pedophiles, the honeypot that Ghislaine and Jeffrey Epstein were running, definitely Israel. I mean, that's the ones we know of.
Yep.
So there's probably more. And so that's the thing. We got this criminal parasite. I don't want to call it a state. It's a parasite colony. It's growing like a cancer. And it's costing billions of dollars in the United States. It's also costing us our image. I mean, people hate us for supporting Israel. Iran, they call us the great Satan because it's true. And they'll say death to America. And when you say that, they're not saying death to me and my civilian. They're saying death to our government, this Zionist occupied government. That's what it is. And they say death to Israel. They say the same thing. They don't want to hurt anyone there. They want to get rid of this regime. So I understand where they're coming from. And frankly, I agree in the sense that my government and the Israeli government are probably the most deadliest governments on earth. And they need to be regime changed, frankly. So until America gets out of this mess somehow, we need some kind of president or a whole movement of people, ground up, grass ups type of thing. We won't see much change. But again, Israel, what they're doing is insane. And there's no recovering after this. I'm going to say right now, no matter what they achieve, let's suppose they exterminate every Palestinian from Palestine and they establish Eretz Israel like they want to, right? Who's going to respect this country? Nobody. It's over for them. They're finished. I think we're seeing the beginning of the end of Israel because their image is absolutely destroyed. There's no hiding it. There's no 2 weeks later, an article comes out. This is live. People are seeing these people getting killed as if they're dying in their hands because it's on their phones, right? So the internet's much bigger than it was a few years ago. It's much more access, much more. It's just insane what we're seeing here. So I always make the comparison with George Floyd. Now, whatever people believe happened to him, whether he died from fentanyl or he died from Derek Chauvin or a combination of both, George Floyd was like the first African-American to die in everyone's home, so to speak. You know what I mean? He literally died right there. Like, oh, my God. And everyone saw it. Whereas it's not like he got shot and it happened later like Mike Brown. Oh, then you could twist it up, hands up, don't shoot. It's all bullshit. Here's George Floyd dying in everyone's house, technically, right, on the phone. Same thing with Gaza, right? Again, Operation Protective Edge killed thousands. Cast Lead killed hundreds. But we didn't see it happen. This time, this Gaza genocide is like George Floyd in our hands.
Yeah.
And that's why George Floyd, again, whatever Chauvin's guilty or not, I'm not even picking sides. I'm just saying the fact is Floyd, the way he died in front of all of America is kind of like Gaza being massacred in front of all the world. And it's the same effect. And that's why we're not going to forget it. So no matter what Israel does, I think they're finished. Their image is completely destroyed. Not only did the Middle Easterners know it, now the world sees it. Like, how can you justify this? No one can justify unless you're a psychopath. So whoever supports Israel now is on the wrong side of history. And they're all going to see this unfold in the next few months, in a year or so. We'll see when this thing ends. Israel, I think, is going to be on its way out.
Yeah, but the thing is, when the Iraq War happened and the people were saying the same thing, people who are supporting the Iraq War are going to be on the wrong side of history. But if you look at the same people now, they've all been promoted. People like Tony Blair, they've got billions, and
Sure.
you
Well,
got
the
Joe.
system will always do that. Yeah. But I'm saying the
Yeah,
people of the world, they didn't see the Iraq war unfold.
that's right. That's right.
Remember, it's
Yeah,
2001, 2002. Where were the
yeah,
cameras? You know, they weren't
yeah,
live. The internet wasn't that big. It wasn't. Everyone didn't have a smartphone like this, right?
yeah,
Now
yeah,
everyone does. They can literally look at things happening live, essentially being uploaded on TikTok or X or Instagram. It wasn't like that. If that was like Iraq, we
yeah,
saw the atrocities, it probably would have been a big effective thing. But the Iraq war also made a precedent not to trust the government at all. And then the Syria thing, there was no gassings. There was no all these lies. People are fed up. Now the Ukraine was another one.
yeah.
All these crimes, Ghost of Kiev, all these lies. So
Bukhar as well and everything.
yeah, so our government's full of crap. No one really believes them. And then the Israelis, they're finished. Their reputation is fried at this point.
Yeah. So I know we've taken more than an hour. I don't know if you can hang on a bit longer, or if you have to go. But I think we had a really good chat. We can probably come again if you don't have time.
Well, how much time do you want left? Like,
it's up to you, really. However much time? Another 15 minutes, maybe.
Okay, yeah, okay, we'll do 15.
Yeah, cool, excellent. Yeah, I appreciate that. So I wanted to go into the next topic. I think yeah, we've talked a lot, haven't we? So let's so let's talk about what Yemen is doing. So let's kind of reach out to Yemen, maybe even Lebanon. So what Yemen is saying, that they're going to block any ship going through the Red Sea that's heading towards Israel. So this is going to cost Israel billions more in their economy. It's going to cost the US billions as well, because they are going to have to protect those sea lanes. So they're going to have to take their aircraft carriers all the way around Africa and protect those sea lanes. But I'm pretty sure that United States cannot afford another war in the Middle East, not with Yemen, not with Lebanon, because that's just going to enrage the world even more. I mean, the Muslim world is already enraged as it is. And if they see the Americans start bombing Yemen and start bombing Lebanon, they will know that, these Americans and Israelis are basically glued to the hip, and they're just basically out there trying to kill Muslims. I don't think, I mean, you've seen the American troops in Syria and Iraq being almost like bombed on a daily basis now. They're being attacked. But obviously, the United States has not really retaliated yet. I think if they wanted to retaliate, they would have. But I think they're basically told not to, because they don't want to enrage the Muslim world anymore. And what's your thoughts on this possible escalation, even?
I mean, look, it's very bad for America. We're spread out. We have forces where we shouldn't have them. And I almost feel like they want them to get killed so that we have a reason to start World War III. And I think the Israelis are betting on that too. But I honestly think Americans are sick of war. But you know what? The government doesn't need our permission anymore. Listen, we haven't declared war since 1942. That's what people don't know. We have not officially declared war since 1942 with Congress's approval. What's happened is presidents have launched their own military campaigns under whether it be humanitarian interventions, military-led operations, all these different terms, where they have 90 days to do stuff, right? And if they want to expend their time, they say, Congress, look, we're already in too much. Can you help us with the funding? And then Congress approves. But it's not a declaration of war. So the United States has not been at war since 1942. So that Gulf War is not actually a war. You understand? The Iraq War was not actually a war. None of these things were actual wars. They were military interventions, military-led operations, humanitarian, whatever, right? So we won't go to war per se, but we will go to war if this happens, right? And it's going to cost us trillions and trillions of dollars again, more American lives. But I think people are just sick of it. So what they're doing now is they're arming proxies, yeah? So that's what we had with Assad. We had ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra Front. These are all our guys, of course. ISIS actually hit Israel once and apologized, so that should tell you. Now we have this video coming out from ISIS saying they're going to attack Gaza. You see that? Why would Muslims attack their own friends and family?
Yeah.
Because they're assets of us. So, if anything expands, it's going to be a kind of proxy thing. I don't think the United States is going to send boots on the ground. I mean, we had like 2,000 people in Israel now who are helping with hostage situations. From what I understand, that's what's going on. That's not a full-fledged invasion. That's not a declaration of war. So will we have special forces? probably already have them there already, you know. But as for other countries like Syria, Iraq, we're getting bombed, of course. And, you know, we'll have to take these casualties because I don't think we can afford another war. And but I think the Israelis don't care. That's why, you know, they're saying they're defending themselves, but they're bombing Syria, they're bombing Lebanon, they're bombing several countries, including genociding the Palestinians. And I think they're hoping that we do something with Iran or something with Yemen, and we get sucked into this to fight their fight, of course. But I don't know. I don't know if the American people, but again, it doesn't matter what the American people want because the war machine will do what it wants anyway. But, you know, I'll tell you what, they're having a very hard time recruiting people. You know, there's been several articles about them having a difficult time to convince Americans to join the military because what are they joining for? What are we actually fighting for? More people are realizing we're not really fighting for our country. We're fighting for special interests that are not worth dying for.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. And yeah, I was going to tell you that the military seems a bit woke. I mean, you've seen the Israeli military, right? With these, you get these couple of gay guys dancing for TikTok and stuff like that, and then in United States you have Mark Milley, who is a completely woke guy, and he's talking about trans rights in military, and he's talking about these pride um, concerts with all the military guys in it. So he's been pushing this woke agenda, not only in the military, but it's kind of putting people off, really. And the same with Israel. But the thing is, these Israelis who are kind of doing all these TikTok videos and dancing, I mean, you can see that these guys are not scared going into Gaza, mainly because they think that they're invincible. They probably think, oh, these Hamas guys, they're nothing really. Look, we're killing babies and women. This is going to be easy. But they're going in and they're getting slaughtered, and they're coming out injured and dead. And I don't think they're trained to fight. I mean, these guys, they've been like living the Western life, you know, going clubbing and going to bars, enjoying themselves, having lots of relationships with men, women, who knows. And these guys are having an open life. But while in Gaza, you have the Hamas members who have been training their whole lives. They are probably, getting ready for war, getting ready to die at a moment's notice. It's a completely different mentality, you know. Like, it's just. I think this is the problem with the Israeli kind of military. I don't think they.
It's you have to go to the military. It's mandatory. So a lot of people, like our military in the United States, it's voluntary. So everyone there wants to go. In Israel, you have to go. Yep. You go to college and be like a ballerina. Well, you're going to the IDF anyway. So a lot of these people they're not supposed to be there because they're not supposed to fight. They're not built for it, but they have to be there. Yeah. And like you said, they're the first world conditions, essentially. They are very comfortable. They're very arrogant. They think they're on top of the world. They're better than everyone. And then you go against a battle-hardened, Gazan who's pissed off. He lost his whole family. Yep. You're probably going to die. And that's what's happening.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
America, same thing. American exceptionalism. When have we won a war? I mean, we lost in Afghanistan. We lost troops there. Vietnam kicked their ass because we didn't win anything. I mean, we just die. We get killed too. I mean, we kill more people because of our technology. These Afghan didn't have an air force. Vietnam didn't have an air force. Iraq was simple because we destroyed the air force and we killed millions of people there. But it's like head to head with like real fighters who are like, we're coming from a first world too. We're fighting someone who's been training his whole life, willing to die for their country because we're in their homeland. I mean, that's a hard enemy to fight. And the Israelis have it worse because they've gave birth to these enemies. Again, a lot of these kids were born into God. They're born in this country. That's all they know is they're living in prison. That's all they've ever known. And they want freedom. So they have a higher cause to fight, where the Israelis are like, yeah, I'm just a settler who came from Poland and I kind of don't even care about being here. Like whatever. I want to just go home and party or whatever. So it's a different mindset. Yeah, these are not battle-hardened troops, and they're going to have heavy casualties. That's why they want to flatten everything, because they want to prevent. But flattening won't do much. Because again, Hamas is using tunnels. They know it's their backyard. They know where to go. Their vantage point, where to snipe. They know where to put booby traps. Again, it's like the Vietnamese. We had a hard time fighting the Vietnamese because they had tunnels. Literally, they had tunnels everywhere. So yeah, that's what happens when you fight a force that's not willing to die. It's very hard to beat someone who's suicidal.
Yeah, I mean, when's this gonna stop? I'm gonna play like devil's advocate here, Lucas, and I want you to kind of give me your honest answer. I mean, it seems to me the perfect time is now for China to take back Taiwan because you know that's gonna be that's gonna be that's gonna be a real kind of what would you say, a slap in the face, and the world will realize who America will find more important, either Taiwan or Israel. I think Taiwan is probably more important to America than Israel is. And I think, if anything, if China goes into Taiwan, I think um, America will literally drop Israel and focus on Taiwan, because as a security threat, Taiwan is much more of a danger to America, because it's just the other side of the Pacific, right? Plus, Taiwan has got semiconductors, TSMC, and many other reasons, and they would also lose the first island chain as well and give China access to the Pacific. What's your thoughts? I think Taiwan is going to be more important to United States than Israel is, and I think this is probably the best time for China. If they wanted to, they could easily take Taiwan, and I think America would probably not do anything, because I think they'll be too busy with everything going on around the world.
What would you do? I mean, if we put ships there, they're gone. I know China has hypersonic missiles, right?
Yeah.
So if you put a few ships there, they're going to be sunk, and then you have a big problem. And then again, you're going across the sea to fight a war, which again we're already spread out thinly with all these different proxies and all our monies everywhere. We're running out of ammo for Ukraine, right? Didn't we run out of artillery shells or something?
Yeah.
Now you want to go to war with China. And by the way, we have a one China policy, which I know it's not just like give it up to Taiwan, but Taiwan to China, but it's like we acknowledge that China and Taiwan have their own beef, and we were there to like make sure nothing goes wrong. But what are we going to do if China goes there? There's really nothing to do. I mean, really, what we can't do much. I know there's people who want to arm the Taiwanese, who want to give them weapons, but I don't think they have a chance against China. And there's no way I see us putting our fleet there and not getting sunk, and that's going to cause a problem. And again, you think Americans want to go to another war with another part of the world, especially China, which, by the way, all they got to do is cut off their exports and we're going to die. All our medicine, so many supplies. I mean, if I pick up the United States of America and look underneath it, it's made in China. Yep. You see what I mean? Because literally everything in my house is probably made in China. So if they're like, you know what, you want to go to war with us? Okay, bye. There goes all your medical supplies. 3 months will die with medical supplies. Because all the raw materials from China.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't make a war with China like this and not suffer. So it's going to be a very bad move.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just China, but China's got a lot of allies, and everybody would be on the side of China, because you've seen the UN, where the whole global South is not happy with the United States. And if there is ever a war with China, United States will have to be by itself, because nobody's going to support them, especially after what's happened with Israel. Their diplomacy has completely collapsed, absolutely collapsed around the world. Nobody's ever going to trust United States ever again. And when they look for support for a war with China, everyone's going to be like, no, sorry, mate, I don't want to be the next Ukraine, or I don't want to be the next, Israel. I don't want to be the next Afghanistan, or I don't want to be the next Iraq. I mean, this is what America does. They use you as a proxy, then they dump you when they don't need you anymore. And
that's how it works. Yeah, I mean, we used to be friends with Saddam, and then we killed him.
Yep.
We're like a mafia, we'll be your friend, and then we'll kill you when we whack you when it's over,
Yeah. Well, same thing happened to Gaddafi. Gaddafi was invited to the White House, or his son was, and Hillary was in the White House with Gaddafi's son, saying, we are happy to have a great relationship with you guys. And then a year later, they kill Gaddafi and the son as well. They kill them both.
Yeah,
they're
horrible. Yep.
Yeah, and Libya's never been the same since. So
Libya was flourishing, and then there you go. Bye-bye. We spread democracy, and now they're like an open slave trade over there. It's crazy.